Nothing Personal starts in 30 seconds. It's just business. This is Nothing Personal.
Here you go. Here you go.
Last night at PNC Park during the Pirates-Cubs game, after Andrew McCutchen hit a double, a fan fell out of the right field stands. There is video all over. We're not showing it. It is graphic. You can find it if you want to. But a fan fell down a 21-foot wall and is in critical condition at a hospital. And I wanted to point out a few things that have been mentioned to me since this happened, misunderstanding a couple of issues. Number one, when you build a ballpark, you do it according to safety standards. Railings are a certain height. There is the pitch of the prefabricated concrete when people think you're in the upper deck and it's very steep and you get concerned about how steep it is. It's all done according to code. The length between the stairs. There is something you can't legislate against. You can't legislate against accidents happening, or if this person, we don't know if this gentleman fell over, whether he was drinking, not drinking, whether he jumped, didn't jump. I'm not going to speculate, but people have contacted and said, are you going to raise the railings? Are the Pirates liable? What's the litigation side of this? It's a human story, and there is someone with a family. There is someone who you should be praying for. It's my second worst nightmare running a ballpark. The first is obviously an attack on the ballpark. A second is a fan having an accident and falling onto the field. We have signs. We have people who are supposed to be looking out for people. You don't hear about this happening much. Maybe a couple of times you've heard of people falling off an escalator in Pittsburgh or falling out the back of the stands, 15 years ago. Texas, you read a few things. Your first thought should not be what. It should be why. And then your second should be that you pray that he will be able to recover and resume his life. Let's start the show, Coca. First A. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day. As in the end of the first A of the baseball season, it is time for our monthly updates. The first A of the baseball season, I'm sure you figured out by now, is April. The second A, you've got it, is August. For those of you new to the show, well, yes, sometimes we take time to talk about things non-sports, or we take time to be a little sullen and to recognize actions and things that happened during the course of the previous 24 hours. Now, we've got a system in place where we give you a word of the day, and then we talk about where we are in a season. And David, are we early? Are we mid-early? Are we late early? Or are we early the middle part of the season? Maybe it's middle. Can't be middle. It's May 1st. Is it early, late? Different things happen as a front office person or as a player or as a fan, depending on where you are in the season. I would like to point out that we are now middle early. It is no longer early as you hit the first day of May. And on the first day of each month or the first show of each month, we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the other. For people who are not following, just go look up Clint Eastwood. Let's start with what was good in April, and it is a very simple runaway story. Aaron Judge is hitting .427 with 10 home runs and 32 RBI. His OPS is over 1,200. He's so hot that you can't even touch him. That's how hot he is. And it's so scary because generally he starts slow and then gets hot. It's unclear what pace he could continue at. If you do the math, there's 6 months of a season. You could argue 10 times 6, he's going to hit 60 home runs, which puts you in range to tie or break his own record of 62. Or you could say to yourself, could he be the first player to ever hit over 400 since Ted Williams? He's hitting 427. Do you know the rarefied air that Aaron Judge is in? He is the overwhelming favorite to be the MVP of the American League. There are 3 New York Yankees who have won the MVP 3 times: Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and Joe DiMaggio. How would you like to join that group of guys? Mantle, Berra, DiMaggio. Well, A-Rod tried, couldn't, won 2 MVPs with the Yankees. Roger Maris tried, couldn't, won 2 MVPs with the Yankees. Aaron Judge has 2 MVPs this year. Should he continue at this pace, win the Triple Crown, break some records, he'll be the unanimous MVP. It would be his 3rd. Keep in mind that he is 33 years old. I'm not going to be ageist. I'm not going to panic anyone. He's getting paid $40 million per year from now through 2031. That means that he will be, wait for it, in the 2031 season, he will be 39 years old. He does not use foreign substances. It is highly unlikely that he will be this productive late in his 30s, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy it now. Could he do this for 3 more years? Maybe. Could he do it for 3 more months? Likely. Is it enough to give the Yankees what would be Judge's first ring, which is what he needs to even be in the conversation as an all-time Yankee? You can't be an all-time Yankee without a World Series ring. Just stop that whole conversation. Get Aaron Judge 1 or 2 rings with 3 MVPs, you're on that list. What else was good? I don't want to make it a New York show, Coca, but my God, you have to talk about the Mets. The Mets who have the best record in baseball. The Mets who just gave in and gave Juan Soto the world, everything he wanted. Absolutely everything he wanted. And Soto as a presence in the Mets lineup is helpful. He's not even the 3rd best Met this month. You'd give that to Alonso, number 1, Lindor, number 2. The Mets pitching has been great. Their defense has been great. Overall, you'd have to say that when you're thinking about good, you'd associate Mets, and you'd be scared because if Soto ever starts hitting for power again and gets his average, he used to be able to be capable of being a 300 hitter. But I'll tell you one thing, that Pete Alonso has taken advantage. He's trying to go full Chapman, full Snell. He's trying to be a Boris Klein who got overpromised, underdelivered, signs a short-term deal with an opt-out, has a good year, waits a year, and then gets paid a fortune, and then everyone's despondent who signs the contract, except the player. Alonso's trying to do that. Can you imagine, Coca, if Alonso and Judge both win the Triple Crown in the AL and the NL? These are the musings when it's early in the season. What else is good? The NL West. After a month, the team that is looking up at the most teams, and of course, I'm never going to mention the Rockies, the Diamondbacks had a 16-14 month. Nothing to sneeze at, achoo. But they're looking up at the Giants, Padres, and Dodgers, all of whom have not at least 19 wins. Dodgers are 21-10 in first place. Padres right behind them, 19-11. Giants, 19-12. Can there be a division where you will get a division winner in all 3 wild cards? Not impossible. I think the NL East will have something to say about that. There is going to be some disappointed teams out there as we get into the Jays. Oh, relax, everyone. This is not a So You Want to Talk to Samson. Getting into the Jays is June and July. Right now, we're in the first of the M's that matters. March doesn't really matter. NL West is so good. Let me tell you what else before we move on to the bad. This will take me a minute, Coca, because I don't want to take a victory lap and I don't want to relitigate my career as an executive. But it is hugely important to understand how trades work in Major League Baseball. You cannot evaluate a trade the day it happens. You absolutely need to wait to see whether any of the prospects that are traded for or that you trade away end up being productive big leaguers. Do you remember the day when the Washington Nationals traded Juan Soto to the San Diego Padres, who had all those great young players? And everyone said, oh my God, the Padres did it. Way to go, Preller. You're brilliant. Who cares about James Wood, CJ Abrams, and Mackenzie Gore? You're getting Juan Soto. Of course, they did nothing Juan Soto and ended up getting rid of him. James Wood, CJ Abrams, and Mackenzie Gore are three major parts of a Nationals team that is not a joke. Now, they won the World Series in 19, totally different team. They had to go into a rebuild because of COVID. And the way you go into rebuild is with good scouts who choose good prospects, who turn into good players, who can outperform their pre-arbitration contracts. CJ Abrams doesn't even get to arbitration till next year. James Wood, forget it. He's got 2 years till his first year of arbitration. Mackenzie Gore is in the program and is one of the top 15 starters in the National League. Here's the good. The Nationals crushed the Padres with that trade. All right, let's go to the bad. I mean, what am I going to say? Sorry, folks in Denver. You know I love you. Love that city. Chicago, all of you people on the South Side, the Rockies and White Sox are bad. They're just bad. There's nothing more to say. The Rockies beat the Braves, so they avoided the worst 30-game start ever. Fine. They're 5-25. They're going to lose well over 100 games, as are the White Sox. There's nothing more to say. You know what else is bad in April? A bunch of closers who were supposed to be good. Devin Williams, sorry, you're bad. Yeah, you pitched a decent eighth inning in a game when the team was losing, but your ERA still has a 10 spot. How about Emmanuel Clase of the Guardians? You're bad. You're not even the closer anymore. How about Rafael Iglesias? You're bad. Not even the closer to 5.73 ERA. Rizal, excuse me. Thank you, Coca. When you have bad pitching after a month, and those are the bad closers, there's bad starters too. Sandy Alcantara has an ERA over 8. Dylan Cease is pitching very, very poorly with an ERA over 5 3/4. Don't forget Cole Reagans was going to be in the Cy Young talk. He hasn't even gotten past the 5th inning except twice. His ERA is 4.5. I am able to still say there is time. There is time for closers to get their job back and perform. There is time for pitchers to put together a string of good months. April is too early to declare that this means they'll be bad for the season. Not too early to declare that it's a bad April. So the good, the bad. How about the other? Let me give you just 3 quick other things to think about. Number 1, torpedo bats. It's only been under a month. My bad. Let me do that better, Coca. 4/8/69. Torpedo bats. It's been like a month and 3 days since the craze of the Yankees opening series when they crushed the Brewers and everyone thought Jazz Chisholm was going to be a chiseled superstar like Christopher Reeve hitting bombs with his torpedo bat. Now what? No one even talks about it anymore. Now I get that I'm a part of the media where there's no overreaction, except I'm the one who tells you, stop overreacting. It doesn't matter. People have been using torpedo bats. You still need to be able to hit. That's funny, though, that no one talks about it. 2, the Atlanta Braves, all of you people who went pee-pee on their gravesite of the season because they started 0-7. They were about to finish the month 500 until they lost 2-1 to the Diamondbacks, who were trying to break an 8-game losing streak and avoid being the worst April team. I said Rockies. I meant Rockies. Thank you, Coca. The Rockies won 2-1 yesterday, which stopped the Braves from finishing 500. They're 2 games under, but the Braves have fully recovered. That's it. So they're going to be the first of 28 teams to start a season 0-7 and make the postseason. You just watch. That was worth noting. Everyone stop panicking all the time. And the last thing is, when are we going to hear an update on Tampa? Remember, they kept it out of the news. The team is playing at Steinbrenner Field. We know they can't play at Steinbrenner Field next year. We know there was some vote that allowed the Tropicana to start repairing its roof. And we know they were selling parts of the roof for $15. We know all that. We know that Orlando's trying to get a baseball team. More on that, whether it's today or another day on our show. But we need an announcement because we are only a couple of months away from next year's schedule. Got to know where Tampa's going to play. Ooh. Hi, I'm David Samson. Give me a second. All right, we're clear. Today's episode is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I've been waiting to talk about this topic. I wanted to do a show last night. I was ready. Coke and I were saying, do we wait until 8 a.m. Eastern to talk about Bill Belichick and what's going on with CBS, with his book, with his girlfriend, to get into some significant, serious detail about this? When there's a battle of statements, it's like Christmas Day for me. Let me give you the backstory, because you need some translation of what's going on here, because it's absolute insanity. The backstory is Bill Belichick wrote a book. Very nice of him. Did not acknowledge Robert Kraft. No big deal. You don't have to acknowledge anybody. You don't want to. No problem. He agrees to go on a promotional tour, which is what you do when you have a movie made about yourself or when you have a book that you've written or is written about you that you have a part of. It's called promoting. The reason you agree to promote your book is that you were paid in advance to write the book, quote unquote, wink, wink. And in order for the publishing company to realize an investment return on the money they give to the author, they need to sell books. To sell books, you got to get the author out there. So the author does interviews. Bill Belichick sits down with CBS this morning and does a full interview, and all of a sudden viral. The problem is 96.9% of the people, and I'm going to take a poll right now on our chat. Nothing Personal with David Samson is our YouTube channel. Coca, if we can get a poll out there, how many of you can name the title of Bill Belichick's book? The whole purpose of the promotion was about the book. Except when you get interviewed about myriad topics. That is the point of an interview, of a national interview. The way this went sideways is during the interview with CBS, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, everyone's got the right to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, side friend, front friend, do whatever you want. Remember, do whatever you want. I have nothing against a 24-year-old dating a 73-year-old. During the interview, the 24-year-old girlfriend apparently said, oh, we're not going to talk about this, we're not going to talk about that, and was some sort of obstructionist as it related to the interview. CBS was less than happy about this because it was less than compelling, though it did become viral when it appeared that she was almost editing her 73-year-old boyfriend for fear that he would say something wrong or something they hadn't rehearsed. Not out of the question for publicists and PR people to go with celebrities who get interviewed or people who are older who are getting interviewed. You train them what to say. You teach them to talk about the book or to talk about the movie or to talk about whatever cause they're there to talk about. No matter what questions are asked, you train them how to answer by not answering. It is 101 of how to be front-facing. It's one of the first lessons. Don't answer a question you don't want to answer. I have no problem with that. Bill Belichick of sound mind and body, although that is going to be argued at some point by his other adult children, I would imagine, as more and more news continues to come out of how much money his 24-year-old girlfriend continues to get from him, how many investments she's made. Go check out the New York Post article if you want. She has amassed a bit of real estate holdings, coincidentally, after she and Bill started getting together. Coincidentally, maybe she won the lottery. Hard to know. But hey, she seems to have done it all legally. Do you know Bill Belichick can give her whatever he wants? All you have to do is put a gift tax, file a gift tax return, and you can give anyone you want anything you want. There's actually an annual exclusion. You can give someone 19 grand just because they look nice. Hey, I'll give you 19 grand, no tax liability. I'll give you 19 grand, no tax liability. You want to give more than 19 grand to someone? No problem. You're allowed to give. Last year, it was like $11.6 million over the course of your life. He could give his girlfriend, Jordan, $11.6 million tax-free. Just fill out a tax return. You get an exclusion. Of course, when he croaks, every penny he has will then be taxed because he will have used his entire lifetime exclusion. But we're getting too technical. The fact is, Jordan, the girlfriend, could easily have gotten money from Belichick to buy apartments, buy houses, buy clothes, whatever it is that Bill's buying. It's all good. The problem is you got to get to the statement. And the statement, strangely enough, about this whole situation was released from the University of North Carolina, his employer. I was the president of the Marlins. When I had a personal issue, I didn't release a statement on Marlins stationery. Quote from the University of North Carolina, head coach Bill Belichick. What does this have to do with his coaching? But it's okay. It's on official letterhead of Carolina. He said, I agreed to speak with CBS Sunday morning to promote my new book. I'm still not going to give you the title. You got to find it yourself. Prior to the interview, I clearly communicated with my publicist at Simon & Schuster. That is the publisher. That is who does the book tour. That any promotional interviews I participated in would agree to focus solely on the contents of the book, Horse Hockey. Simon & Schuster cannot deliver that to any client. I don't care if you're Stephen King. They cannot deliver an interview slate where it is, hey, only questions about the movie. Now, you may have seen it in Notting Hill. It's not the real world. You don't have to answer if you don't want, but you do not get a national program, CBS Sunday Morning, to in any way put a collar around the topics they will discuss or to even give questions in advance. Bill Belichick went on to say, the final 8-minute segment does not reflect the productive 35-minute conversation we had. It's called edited. If you're not live on a network, let me just make sure that everyone out there knows this. When you're live on TV or live on radio, that's live, and you do an 8-minute hit or a 12-minute hit or a 4-minute hit, that's live. When you do an interview that is taped for 35 minutes or 50 minutes, that is going to be edited. When you go on Survivor and you're there 24 hours a day, it's going to be edited down. And the edit process is one you don't control. Everybody knows the rules of engagement here. Everybody. He said that this presented selectively, that CBS presented selectively edited clips and stills from just a few minutes of the interview to suggest a false narrative that Jordan was attempting to control the conversation, which is simply not true. What do you expect Bill Belichick to say? He is completely enthralled with his 24-year-old girlfriend, and God bless him. Of course, he's going to back her up by saying, she's not Yoko Ono. She's not getting in the way of me being productive at UNC. She's not getting in the way of me selling books or being a good coach or being a good recruiter or a good father or grandfather. No, she is just helping me as the COO of my life. It's the most preposterous quote of all time. And what's funny is that CBS decided they had no choice but to respond, which is really something. They could have just known that everyone in the industry looked at Bill Belichick's statement and said, what a loser, what a joke. It's just not accurate. But CBS said, when we agreed to speak with Mr. Belichick, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed. You understand what CBS is saying here. They don't need to clear anything with the girlfriend. They need to clear it with the publisher. That's who you confirm the rules with. Now, if Jordan's in charge of Simon & Schuster, then Simon & Schuster has to say to CBS, I'm not the publicist here. I got nothing to do with it. Make sure you speak to Jordan, which is what everyone in North Carolina has to do, whether you're deciding to take anthropology or the history of art, or whether you're designing a post pattern for a new wide receiver recruit. You have to CC Jordan on your emails. She's no dummy. She is no dummy. You make yourself indispensable to an older man, and I mean indispensable physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually. You show a sort of love that the man feels that he doesn't get, totally misunderstood, can't find love anywhere, and all of a sudden he gets love on the rocks. All of a sudden he's got a young, beautiful, maybe hugely manipulative woman, and guess what? He's all in for it, doesn't care. This is a story as old as time. Go back and look at Anna Nicole Smith. This is not out of the ordinary. But CBS in no way wants to be a part of that. None. There is no denying that CBS's statement is the accurate one here, and that Bill Belichick is giving statements through North Carolina that are manufactured drivel by the pen of a 24-year-old with zero PR expertise and zero clue, because when you're wading in the deep water, on the deep side of the pool where the sharks are, you can bet your sweet bippy that you're going to get bitten, if not swallowed whole. I'm not wishing that on Bill and Jordan. I wish them a lifetime of happiness together. I'm good. I'm not going to yuck on their yum in any way. That said, you got to know what you're in for. And what you're in for when you do an interview like that and there is running tape that shows Jordan interfering and acting a certain way, it's going to get out. By the way, 86% of you have no idea the name of Bill Belichick's book. That makes me laugh. Though Simon & Schuster must be so despondent. All right, to everyone in Nothing Personal Land, here we go. The Art of Winning, Lessons from My Life in Football. You're welcome. Now you know the title. I'm going to give you a wait to see about this, if you don't mind. Something's going to happen at North Carolina, because as excited as they are to have Bill as their coach when it was first announced, and we all thought, wow, this is strange. I don't know why he's taking this job. And then we got to learn more. And then we learned even a little more. While the $10 million a year is a pay cut from the 25 he was making as coach of the Pats, remember, he wasn't coaching the Pats, and he was not making $10 million doing media. However, he is going to realize very quickly that college coaching is not for him. Remember, if he stays with Jordan, this 24-year-old would have great interest in higher visibility. The higher visibility comes with media, not with being the head coach of UNC. So I'm going to give you a wait to see. When we tell you something happens, if it does, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Bill Belichick is one and done at the University of North Carolina. When we come back, it's Thursday. Makes my heart feel happy. We're going to review a movie, and then we're going to get to what happened last night in Los Angeles. It is a good thing Jack Nicholson was not there to see what was the end of the Lakers season. And I want to mention and talk about why that is so significant, what happened last night. We'll do it all after the break. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. If you are watching us live on our YouTube channel, Nothing Personal with David Samson, thank you. Please hit subscribe. thank you for your time, 8 o'clock Eastern. If you are on the DraftKings network, which is 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, thank you for your time. If you are listening to this, thank you for listening. Thank you for letting my voice be a part of your daily commute or your job or whatever it is you're doing. We appreciate you so much so that we got some announcements coming up. We should do it in a way that people guess what it is, Coca. It's Thursday. Today is Thursday. It's Thursday. I get to review. Go to davidsamsonpodcast.com. Go to the links. There's like a bunch of parallel lines that are multicolored. If you click that, you'll get to links, and then you'll get to a tracking document. Then in the tracking document, you will see behind the scenes of our show. You'll see every way to see, every movie I've reviewed, every word of the day, every nothing personal pick of the day. We want total accountability for our craziness. Why wouldn't we? You'll also see my top 100 list. Yes, I know. Just leave me be. I know I haven't updated my top 100 list, and it really does weigh on me. But every Thursday, we're going to review one of our top. Hi, I'm David. Every Thursday, we're going to review one of our top 100. Today, it's Sideways, number 41. I want to talk to you about the first time I ever saw Sideways, because it's one of those movies that you never forget. And Sideways may not be that for you, but I've got a couple of them. I remember Dumb and Dumber, where I was when I saw it for the first time. I remember Almost Famous, where I was for the first time. I remember Shawshank Redemption, where I was for the first time. Sideways, I remember because I was sitting in a theater and I was saying to myself, this is me. I am the amalgamation of Thomas Hayden Church and Paul Giamatti. I have moments of coolness, moments where I am just, people don't understand my plight. And I've got moments where I just want things to go right. I want things to be smooth, and I want to sit at In-N-Out Burger with a bottle of wine and just be left alone. I am these characters. This is a story about two friends who are quite different, going to their own bachelor party, Thomas Hayden Church's bachelor party. And what goes down? It led to one of the most famous examples of when fake movies lead to real-life economic consequences. There was a considerable dip, and you can look this up if you don't believe me, because I wouldn't believe me. There was a considerable dip in sales of Merlot when Paul Giamatti announced during the movie, as his character in a written line, "I will not drink Merlot," meaning he would do anything in the world, but he won't drink Merlot. And people took that, and I still have that in my head this many years later. Coco, what year is the movie from? I'm going to say 2001. I'm going to guess. Somewhere around there is when Sideways came. 2004. So it's been 21 years. And it's still in my head that I don't drink Merlot. It's not an old movie while it's 21 years old. Please go watch Sideways. It will go on your top 100, I promise you. It aged great. All right, random number generator. I got to see what I get to watch next. Coca, hit the button, please. The Illusionist. Oh, we're going to get in a fight next week, Coca, because all of you are going to pick The Prestige over The Illusionist as two Magic Man movies that were basically not Magic Mike, Magic Man, that were released at the same time in the same year. Don't remember the year. And I thought The Illusionist, with coincidentally Paul Giamatti and Edward Norton and Jessica Biel. Oh, I can't wait to tell my Illusionist story next week. Okay. God, I love this game we're playing. How many movies do we have left, Coke, out of the top 100, would you guess? We must have, I think we're more than halfway there. Although I don't know, we've been doing this for a year. We'd have to have been doing it for a year to have been done with 50, no? All right, get back to me. Nothing personal pick of the day, presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. What an exciting Game 6 we have back in Detroit, where the Pistons are trying to keep their season alive and win a home playoff game for the first time since 2008. Meanwhile, the Knicks had to get on the plane after their disappointing 106-103 loss at home in a clinching Game 5. Now they've got to get on the road and try to win where they have won before this series in order to not have a Game 7. Because in Game 7s, even being at home does not guarantee anything. And if you want to play the Celtics, you got to get past the Pistons. And Coach Tom Thibodeau understands that if you overlook the Pistons, they're going to win Game 6. And then Game 7, who knows? The thing is, the Pistons are young, dumb, and full of vigor. They're going into this Game 6 saying, we're about to win our first home playoff game in a while, and then we're going to go to New York, and you know what? We're going to take that one too. And they're only giving 1.5 points, basically a pick 'em. We're taking the Pistons minus 1.5 over the Knicks to force a Saturday Game 7 that will put this city on its knees. But if you'd rather watch baseball, our nothing personal pick of the day in baseball is the Philadelphia Phillies. While it is heavy, giving 175, odds subject to change, over the Nationals, the Phillies have a rotation where you'd say, oh, Nola's got to be the best pitcher on that roster. Not right. Oh, Wheeler must be the best pitcher on the roster. Not quite. Oh, it's got to be Sanchez. Well, maybe. No. How about Walker? He's pitching phenomenally. Go check him out. Walker, Phillies, minus 175 over the Nats. Those are your nothing personal picks of the day presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I really got proper screwed last night. Pablo Lopez pitched a great game, and the Twins still lost to the Guardians 4-2. Maybe I ought to think about some of these first 5. Although after the first 5, I think it was a tie score 0-0. That's how good Pablo Lopez was. But their offense was doing nothing. So he lost that pick of the day. And then I had a parlay, a plus 118 parlay with the Rockets and the Lakers. The Rockets-Warriors game was the first game, and I'm feeling cocky. The Rockets are up 30 over the Warriors. Total blowout. It's the first leg of the parlay. Everything's going to be fine. I'm talking to Coca. We're prepping for today's show. And boom, the Warriors go on this crazy run in the fourth quarter. And I actually have a quote for you. I don't ever normally let people inside my texts, but I wanted to just let you know what I said. If Rockets lose this game, I may give up nothing personal pick of the day. And that was at 21-39 last night as the Warriors were on a run. Luckily, the Rockets won, and I can keep giving you my picks of the day, but we had work to do. And is it too much to ask for the Lakers to win a Game 5 at home? They're down 3-1 in the series. They're trying to get it back to Minnesota to see if they can win a road game and then figure out how to win a Game 7. But to do it, you got to win Game 5. If I told you that the Minnesota Timberwolves were going to shoot 7 for 47 from three-point range, what would you say? Game over. Lakers win. It's not how it works. The Lakers have been eliminated by A-Rod's Minnesota Timberwolves. I kept seeing A-Rod and picturing how happy he was, knowing that winning the first round's exciting, but winning it all, that's where it's at. I kept watching the Lakers saying to myself, my God, they have no interior defense. They have no length. They traded it away in order to get Luka. I kept thinking about Nico Harrison sitting in a bar somewhere, jumping for joy, watching the Lakers stink and watching Luka be ordinary. I couldn't turn away from LeBron James at 40, who for sure is doing things at 40 that I can't do. But he's not LeBron James. He can still put up buckets. He can still once in a while drive hard to the basket and throw it down. LeBron James doesn't have the legs because Father Time has beaten him later than he beats most people. And now there's a thought that they're going to sign him to an extra couple of years at a max type deal. Why? You won't be able to build around him. The Lakers aren't good. Are they going to realize that? Or are they going to do a full Kobe where they reward Kobe for his career? They give him a contract that hurts the ability of the team to perform. Are you going to sign Luka to a max deal, saying to yourself, this is our guy, 25-year-old superstar, all of the craze around that Luka deal. And I am not being full of recency bias to tell you the Mavericks made a great deal. Get rid of Luka. No, I'm just here to tell you that there's a reason Luka hasn't won a title yet. He hasn't had enough players to surround him. Maybe we can argue that. Maybe you need defense to win a championship. Nico would certainly argue that. It became apparent to me, and if you are knowledgeable about basketball and you're willing to admit it on the air, which most people just aren't, it's hard not to think that JJ Redick is overmatched, and it's hard not to think that the Lakers organization and the way they put the players together are not overmatched, because the coaching wasn't good enough, the players aren't good enough, and when that happens, you're going to lose, even to a team that shoots 7 for 47 from 3. Do you think it's a coincidence that Rudy Gobert got 27 points and 24 rebounds? Do you think that just happens? Now, it's true that he didn't have a good couple of games. Gobert did not in the series. But then you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves and their ownership, their coaching staff got together and said, this is crazy. How are we not having Rudy Gobert pick and roll toward the basket? How are we not having him just stay there to clean up because no one can deal with his length? And so they did in this game, and it showed. Dominant performance. It makes you think, wow, Rudy Gobert could get a max contract. And then you realize, oh, God, he already did. I'm not saying he's a max player by any stretch, but I am saying against the Lakers, he sure as heck fire looks like one. The Lakers have a lot of self-reflection to deal with, more than just making me lose my parlay in my nothing personal pick of the day, causing me to go to 48 and 52. They've got way more to think about this entire offseason, to whether or not they are serious about winning or are they serious about just being the town clown. Remember, this is the season that started with Bronny James. Bronny James, who had no business being on that roster. Bronny James, who ended up playing like 4 minutes in 2 playoff games. Bronny James, who mostly was playing in garbage time all season long. You do need people on the end of your bench. I get the Udonis Haslem. I get the Herb Williams. I get it all. But when you are placating a man who used to be your superstar, a man who claims he's not GM of the team, but who is, you are setting yourself up for failure, and that failure manifests itself on the court. You don't have to take my word for it. The Lakers are first-round losers. What's the real difference between that and losing in the play-in game? Yeah, they worked their way up to a 3 seed. Big whoop. I had 2 wait-to-sees this season on the Lakers. In February, I told you the Lakers will not make the conference finals. Right after that Luka trade, you remember? And they didn't. We got that one right. Last June, I told you Bronny will not play in the 2025 playoffs. That was at the end of last season. I got that wrong. He played 4 minutes. Oh, well. Can't get everything right. Speaking of things that you can't get right all the time, I'm going to take the opposing view here, not because I'm interested in an argument with anyone, which is cool because it's my show and I got no one to talk to. But what exactly was Jeff Ulbrich doing, taking the podium and doing a huge apology for the actions of his son? I'm just exactly curious why the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons stood up and said, my actions of not protecting confidential data were inexcusable. My son's actions were absolutely inexcusable. I was inexcusable, but my son was absolutely inexcusable. I strenuously object. And for that, we are both deeply sorry. It's like they got caught in some sort of weird, like sex threesome thing that had incest in it or something. My actions of not protecting confidential data were inexcusable. My son's actions were absolutely inexcusable. And for that, we are both deeply sorry. He didn't stop there. The NFL has taken action, and I fully respect the punishment. What? The Atlanta Falcons got fined 250 grand. You got fined 150 grand or 100 grand, and you respect it? Really? We take full responsibility, my son and myself. This is still the dad. And we will not be appealing the fine in any way. Going forward, I promise my son and I will work hard to demonstrate we are better than this. Doesn't that sound like that when you get on Ambien and you say something racist, and then you have to say, hey, man, I was on Ambien? Or when you do something that sort of violates the law, you got drunk and you ran into a wall and you say, oh, man, I got to do better. Or when you're married and you're caught with 3 women or men in your bed on tape and you've got a crack pipe hanging out of your tuchus. Man, we got to be better. The guy had an open iPad with the phone number of Shadur Sanders. Oh, man. The Falcons acting like this is the greatest crime of all time. I'm all in. A father wants to take accountability for his son's actions. Really, though? I wonder whether Papa Halliburton said, man, that's a funny one. Mostly you apologize for your dad's behavior. Isn't that what we all do? Like, oh, man, he's just old. I'm so sorry. When your son sort of craps in the middle of the table, you could say, I'm sorry, I take responsibility. I'm not going to do a press conference. I can't believe how misbehaved my son was in the suite. I grant you he's 8, but I'm not going to hold a press conference. I can't believe my son is a terrible team president. I'm not going to fire him. You're not going to hold a press conference. What is the press conference for? All this attention because of a prank call to Shadur Sanders, who had fallen in the draft and got a call from Mickey Loomis saying, hey, you were drafted. Way to go. Congrats. I find the whole thing to be absolute lunacy. And then the NFL feels like they need to fine the Falcons. And the reason all the insiders are telling you is that they didn't prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club. Give me a small break. You know how many teams don't prevent the disclosure of confidential information? Wait, 32 of them. MLB, we got a confidential directory every year. I haven't. You want me to show them to you? I've got 18 confidential directories. It's the cell phone number of everyone. Back when nobody would give out their cell phone number. Ooh, I could call George Steinbrenner, 976. Oh, that wasn't his cell number. But anyway, that's a little New York reference if you know. Oh, you know, 976-1313. Come on. Jerome Drenovich. Jerome Drenovich listens to this show. Shout out to you, Jerome. You're the voice in my head. Headline Sports. 250 grand? If I'm Arthur Blank and I'm forced to pay 250 grand, if because of what my coach did, and it's so outrageous, I'm appealing on behalf of the Falcons. I do not think that Arthur Blank is cutting a $250,000 check because the defensive coordinator had an open iPad. There's a little something fishy about that. Jeff Ulbrich, interim coach, took over for Saleh when he got fired. Does he have an extra $100K sitting around? Do you think he's going to garnish the wages of his son? Son, you make $10 a week in allowance. That's approximately $520 a year. Do me a favor. After I've croaked, once you put me in the pine, keep paying me back. The whole thing drives me absolutely insane. The Falcons admitted it. He wrote down the number from his father's open iPad while visiting his parents' home. Oh my God. Stop the presses. We have a major business leak. This is worse than someone going from Pepsi to Coke and saying, show me the ingredients. This is way worse than any sort of problem between two competitors because a phone number got out. You know what would be amazing? What would be amazing if what the son actually did was got the leaked playbook, and that's the reason the Falcons lost the Super Bowl after a 28-3 lead, because there was a playbook, and then the Patriots had every play. That's how they came back. That would be fine-worthy or fire-worthy. Why wouldn't the father have just said to the son, listen here, jackhole, what are you doing? Yes, you see stuff every day of mine. What made you think that you should call and do a prank call, which, by the way, was super funny, but what makes you think you should do it? The 21-year-old would say, I'm sorry, Dad, are you going to punish me? And the father would say, what am I going to do? Take a belt? Now the family is down 100 grand. The organization's down 250 grand. And we're all meant to just say, this seems normal. This seems like a proportional response to a phone number. Nope. It's just business. We'll be back tomorrow. This is nothing personal.